Hello everyone, welcome to Book Club Preview. Today we're looking at The Story of More, Chapter 8, Making Sugar. So this chapter starts off with the author just talking about her dad, and it's pretty touching, and she even talks about, his death and taking him off life support. But one thing she always remembers is her dad learned from this commercial in like the 1950s. Coke with chow? Wow! And whenever their mom was away for around dinner time, her dad would just love to have like a bowl of macaroni or something and a Coca-Cola with ice. And every time he would say, Coke with chow? Wow! And throughout her whole life, he would repeat back that tagline. Even as through the decades, Coke's brand tagline changed throughout the years. And so, even in her mind today, when she goes to the stadium with her son and she's at a baseball game and they get like a hot dog and a Coke, she says to her son, Coke with chow? Wow! And that was a huge influence. But back in those days, she's looking at, people consumed Coca-Cola or sweet drinks maybe once a week. It was a real special occasion for her dad, certainly in this case. And it sounds like even for her family, it's a special situation. But slowly over the years, we've consumed more and more sugar, especially in drinks. She looks at, well, how did this happen? Well, into the 50s, 60s, and 70s, men started working away from home more. They started spending longer hours in a company. They couldn't come home for lunch and have lunch with the wife. They'd have to have a business lunch, finish their work, go to a cafe or something, eat, and then go back to work. And this brought about a new kind of food, convenience food, that allowed office workers, businessmen, and stuff like that to maybe grab a food and open it and eat it really easily. And rather than like milk and eggs and things that were in food that gave it some fluff made it really delicious, that those kind of foods spoiled really easily, right? If you think about milk, it turns bad really easily. Eggs turn bad really easily. They were able to substitute that with some sugars that were still able to keep a sweetness, a deliciousness, and a fluff, but were able to stay fresh for a very long period of time. And so this convenience food started to change the way that we eat. And today it's almost hard to imagine what life would be like without a package of cookies or a donut buying from the store and opening it up just fresh. It's been in there for like 3 weeks or probably months, and you open it up, out, take a bite out of it. That's all from convenience food and sugar. So this is rose really, really rapidly. But something else happened that really kicked this off. It was a kind of combination between technology and tragedy. So in Japan, I believe it was, they learned how to take a piece of corn, okay, and they separate it from like some of the proteins and things in corn to corn starch, just the basic molecules of starch, okay. And this was used often in a lot of different bakings and things like that to make things thick. But they were able to take that cornstarch and separate that from the sugars to whatever else, I don't know. And in this form, with the sugar form, it was a liquid. It was a high fructose, high sugar count, high calorie sugar count, corn syrup. So it wasn't like a powder or a crystal like we get in other things. So this high fructose corn syrup became a potential sugar substitute, okay? Now, that wasn't being used that often, But two tragedies kind of helped catapult this high fructose corn syrup into popularity. In Russia, there was a drought, so I think they're like pumpkins or something where they could get some sugar from. Sweetener didn't grow, and so there was this huge gap of a need of that sweetener. And then in another country, there was maybe too much rain, and so something that they grew from sugar didn't happen. And so there's this huge gap for sugar. And America kind of filled in that gap using their corn, because we just learned we have a ton of corn in America. And they converted that to high fructose corn syrup and were able to export it. Certainly in America, we consumed a lot of it because we found out that that sweetener goes wonderfully in drinks. And the rise of sweet drinks has dramatically increased to where it's almost become like 10 or 20% of the calories we consume. Whereas before we just drink water or maybe wine or beer or something like that, right? So high fructose corn syrup really catapulted the sugar craze wave into existence. Well, with modern technology and information, sending out different info from doctors, we've kind of learned, hey, that sugar is really bad for you. You should probably cut back on sweetened drinks. And so at least in America, Americans have decreased the amount of sweet drinks that they consume. So we're not drinking Coca-Cola quite as much as we used to. But we still export all that high fructose corn syrup to other countries. One in particular is Mexico. And in Mexico, they drink, according to our book, a lot of Coca-Cola. I can't even remember what it was, but even more than Americans. And so they're drinking so much sweet drinks, soda, pop, anything you can think of. And so all of that high fructose corn syrup is being exported now. And what's that do to our economy, our farms, everything like that? Well, that's what we're going to learn in the next chapter. So let's look at some vocabulary quickly. First one is wreathed. Wreathed means covered. I think she's talking about her dad covered in tubes and pipes, things like that. A ventilator is a machine that helps you breathe. So it has, connected to your lungs, and it's actually doing the muscle work for you. Trachea is this part of your throat, the inside. We call that a trachea. Perennial means constant, ongoing, reoccurring. And I can't remember what context that was talking about. And discussion question. Is one sugar better than the other or another? Because we looked at sugars and high fructose corn syrup, and in media a lot, high fructose corn syrup is bad. Look at your product, does it have high fructose corn syrup? Be careful with that. And so nowadays people are saying like, oh, eat this cane sugar, eat this like browned crystal sugar, that's healthier. And so now we have like different kinds of sugars that people say are better than like other sugars. Now in our book, the author had an opinion. If you didn't catch it, I'm not going to repeat it, but just in general for now, what do you think? Is one kind of sugar better than another kind of sugar? Or are they all kind of in a bad group? Just share your opinion and your thoughts. Of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today, but thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.